Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde, Shooter Hunt, and Phil Haig here with the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. Shooter, we're continuing our look around the country at winter events, so next up is the great state of Texas.
And Rohde, we were trying to narrow down all these prospects here, but what did I tell you? I said everything's bigger in Texas, so we're going to have a lot of guys jammed into this show today, so I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, we sure will. So, of course, to do that, we have Phil Haig on, our scouting director in the state of Texas, making his Coffee and Curveballs debut. So, welcome to the show, Phil.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here with you guys. I watched all the time, and now I'm on here looking at your mug, so I'm ready to go.
Excellent. And as if you can't tell, Phil is outside because apparently it's 60 degrees in Texas, so soaking up that weather. But let's talk about some players, Phil. Starting off with Brayden Sharpe, 2023. I mean, is there ever a year that a player doesn't come out of the woodlands?
No, they always got guys, but Brayden's a guy. He's a 6'2", long, loose, long arm, athletic kid. On the mound, he was up to 84 in the event. We've heard up to 85, 86. Breaking ball spins right. Everything about the kid, even just talking to him, he had a good presence about him at the event. Moved well in the outfield, threw well, had a good-looking swing, so he's definitely a guy to pay attention to down the road.
Yeah, Sharpe was one of my favorites to see throughout the preseason, just even video. The athleticism comes right off the board. The arm really works well, like Phil was saying. I think the majority of college coaches that I was talking about the last few months, Brayden Sharpe was the name that came up immediately, and they asked, is he any good? I would say, did you see the video? He can really do it. So Brayden Sharpe, obviously at the Woodlands, he's with a talented program, talented players, talented coaches. He's going to continue to grow.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing him when I get down there to see Drew Romo. So, but next up, we've got a middle infielder out of Allen High School, another 2023 in. I'm going to try this, Lathan Van Ostel.
Yeah.
Phil, you say little guy but explosive athlete. We like, multi-sport guys. He's a QB on the football team. What's this guy bringing to the table?
He's another one who's just an explosive. He moves around, bounces around the field. He's a quarterback, Allen, Texas. Kyler Murray came out of there, obviously a great football tradition. Down the road, heard he's probably going to be a guy for him on the football field as well. But on the baseball field, when that swing is right, the ball jumps off. Probably down the road, more or less an offensive second baseman at the next level, but in high school can definitely play all over the infield. I'm sure he could play the outfield if he needed, just with his natural raw athleticism running around that field.
Yeah, they're churning out two-sport guys there at Allen High School. And if you haven't been down there, it's worth getting there for Friday Night Lights with that $60 million stadium. Gorgeous. But coming out of the same school as Kyler Murray, who is also a two-sport standout, as everybody knows, it's no small feat to play quarterback at Allen High School and also be on the baseball team. So I'm really looking forward to catching them in the spring.
Excellent. So we talk about multi-sport guys. We also like two-way guys on the field when they're young. Elliot Foreman, another 2023 out of New Diana, catcher/right-hander. Phil, what do you got?
He's also another two-sport guy. He plays quarterback on the football team up there as well. But big body, big frame, right-hander on the mound. Have heard up to 88, seen up to 84. But as a catcher right now, he's that prototypical big frame, good loose hips, gives you a good low target with a big frame. Caught really well some stuff at a couple events here in this past January. Overall, I think he's a guy who's got a really, really high ceiling, but definitely fits that prototypical mold of a catcher there.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's in the top 100 nationally for us right now. He can really receive back there. The frame's going to fill out, does everything the right way. Phil and I, pitching guys, one thing we love to see, those guys who can really receive, and he can catch and throw as well. So I'm excited to see what Foreman's got in store, and hopefully I'll see him this summer.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, next up out of Round Rock, we got Travis Sakura, a 2023. I don't know if this was intentional or not, Phil, but you wrote down that he's a right-hander 3 times in our notes here for the show. So are you trying to say something?
I mean, his frame is what you dream of on the mound. Not to slight the kid by any means on the field, because I do think his hands really work, and I think he can play there. But I think down the road, his potential on the mound is too high. At the end of the day, I think he's about 6'4", 6'5", probably about 170 pounds. He put on some weight from the last time we saw him in the fall, so I think he's starting to grow and starting to mature a little bit. He was up to 87. There's a little bit of violence in there, but I think at the end of the day, he's going to clean it up and really, really have a high ceiling on that mound there.
Yeah. Nebraska recruiting Phil, you sent me the video, and it did look like he shot up like 2 or 3 inches over the off season. But the big thing with him is that he's still getting strength in those legs, and I think some of that violence with the arm comes from the fact that he's still developing his frame in that lower half. Once that comes, I think we're going to see huge velo gains because, Rhodey, in Texas, everybody throws hard.
They certainly do. But next up out of the 2021 class, this is a great baseball name. So what can you tell me about Slade Forman?
Slade Forman. Well, he also looks like a baseball player when you run out there. He's not necessarily the biggest guy, but he's got an athletic, strong, muscular lower half. Really handles the bat easily well. He actually comes from Bridge City, Texas, who has they've got a pretty good youth program, high school program there. So it's one of those where he knows how to play the game. When he runs around the field, he's that guy you always notice as that dirt bag. But ultimately, the ball really jumps out that bat. He's got a strong arm. He can do a lot of things. I just think he's a quality, solid player at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Bridge City, I see that on there. That's a good program. They're going to have a good team, and they continue to churn guys out of there.
Excellent. Another 23 out of Hutto, a right-hander, but also maybe an infielder as well. You got Garrett Baum.
Garrett Baum. So Garrett actually had an older brother, Gage. He was a good player, as we all know. But I think he's another guy he's a gamer type. He's not a burner by any means, but his hands really work for him on the infield. But I do think he's another guy whose future is on that mound. He's grown up since the last time I've seen him, probably about 6'2" right now. He ran up to 81 at an event, but the arm is really clean. I think he's just starting to figure out how to use the lower half and use his body, get down that mound, and be a little more explosive. So I think he's definitely got a bright future on the mound moving forward.
Excellent. Well, then out of Reagan High School, we got a right-hander in Ryan Beard. I think this guy's going to have a fan in Shooter Hunt because the first word you have to describe him in all caps is hammer.
Spin wins?
Hammer. No, he's definitely a guy. He got out on the mound at our San Antonio event there. He got out, and he's got a repeatable. It's not a crazy delivery, but then he started snapping off a couple of hammers, and I had to pull my phone out, and actually I think I sent it to Shooter there. But it's one of those where it's real. The breaking ball spins right. The fastball plays off it up to 88, and it's definitely something to watch. And I'm sure some velo will come with it because he throws a hammer with some violence, and it's right.
Geez, I'm looking at all these schools these kids are from. These are some serious programs. Reagan, just one after another, keep coming out of there. No wonder they keep winning state titles.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. So 2 more names for you. Wrap us up real quick here, Phil, with your stuff in Texas. You got Ethan Gonzalez at 23 from Smithson Valley, and then Connor Bennett. Both catchers, with Bennett being from Oak Ridge.
A couple young guys that we saw, and I wanted to make sure we kind of got them in here. Where Gonzalez right now, I think they're both defensively ahead of where they are offensively. And obviously, being 14, 15 years old, it's going to come with their maturity. But defensively, Gonzalez has the frame where he's about 6 foot 180 right now, solid lower half, catch and throw guy. The swing, it works right now, and I think there's going to be more power to come down the road. Bennett, same thing. He's a little smaller frame, but defensively he bounced around. He caught really well. Presented a great target to the guys on the mound there. Ultimately, I think as he grows and matures physically, you're going to start seeing him really tap into who he actually can be behind that dish.
Man, already this 2023 class in Texas is showing signs of having some great backstops back there. So I'm sure some college coaches are going to be heading down trying to get those guys who are going to lead their pitching staffs.
Excellent. Well, Phil, we appreciate you joining us today, and I'm sure that we can expect a lot more coverage of these events from you at PrepBaseballReport.com.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
You bet. So for Phil Haig and Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs, and until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.